Today's episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by Kova Software, makers of the Kova point of sales system, now found in more than 20,000 retail locations spread throughout the United States and Canada. Kova's system is easy to use, rock solidly reliable, and powerful in all that it can do. Whether you have one store or 100, Kova's got you covered. Their point of sale system has stood tall on the busiest of sales days, including 420, Green Wednesday, and the day before the Super Bowl. So you know you'll nearly always be up and running to serve your customers. Find out how Kova software can make your business life easier and more profitable by swinging over to kovasoftware.com/demo, where you can schedule a full demonstration of their point of sales system yourself. It's a quick and easy process that will leave you better educated on how you could benefit from working with Kova software. And don't forget to tell them you heard about them here on Marijuana Today Daily. One more time, that's kovasoftware.com/demo with Kova spelled COVA. Thanks to everyone over at Kova Software for all the support. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, April 18th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 471 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the news that British pharmaceutical company GW Pharma has received word that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration plans on recommending that their drug Epidiolex be approved as a prescription drug to treat certain kinds of epilepsy, making it the first drug to do so that's derived directly from cannabis. There are a few FDA-approved synthetic types of cannabis drugs, but Epidiolex would be the first that's produced using marijuana plants. Yesterday, the FDA posted details for a review they've been conducting ahead of a public meeting to vote on the recommendation held tomorrow. The non-binding recommendation, if passed, would be considered further by the FDA later on this summer when it makes a final call on Epidiolex's application. This is a big story for lots of reasons, so I'd direct you over to the New York Times for the full dive in. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. New Cannabis Ventures kicks off the first of its 3 stories on today's list with a piece about a huge acquisition recently announced by Scott's Miracle-Gro, which is spending $450 million to buy Sunlight Supply, a company specializing in indoor cultivation equipment and supply. Scott's Miracle-Gro has been very aggressive in recent years in growing out their marijuana cultivation business, mostly through acquisitions like this latest. Sunlight Supply will be brought under the corporate wing of Scott's wholly owned subsidiary Hawthorne Gardening Company, which holds all of its cannabis cultivation brands and companies. Sunlight Supply saw sales of $460 million in fiscal 2017 and brings the additional benefit of having a wide distribution network. This is an even bigger story than it would be otherwise, as Scott's Miracle-Gro is one of the few publicly traded companies with any kind of real exposure to legal cannabis. As we quickly approach cannabis's high holiday of April 20th, the state of California would like to remind all legally licensed Golden State marijuana businesses to steer clear of any kind of unsanctioned 420 events or celebrations, at the risk of potentially losing their license. The California Bureau of Cannabis Control just released an official warning to the industry saying, quote, "Any Bureau licensee participating in an unlicensed cannabis event may be subject to disciplinary action," unquote. According to the LA Times, the state has issued just under 50 temporary licenses for 420 events for Friday. So if you're involved in the California marketplace and planning to do something fun this Friday to celebrate, just make sure there's an official license to back up whatever you're doing as a company. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Kova Software, makers of the Kova point of sales system, now found in more than 20,000 retail locations spread throughout the United States and Canada. The company behind Kova Software has decades of experience in operating within highly regulated industry, so they know how to make their products really smart about maintaining compliance. You can rest easy knowing that you'll never be knocked out of compliance because of a simple mistake or user error. Kova's point of sales system can be deployed in any number of stores and even used in locations without Wi-Fi. If you have a retail business and need a great point of sales system built with legal cannabis in mind, then you should open up covasoftware.com/demo with Cova spelled COVA. That's covasoftware.com/demo, where you can schedule a full demonstration of their system yourself. And make sure to let them know that you heard about them here on Marijuana Today Daily. Thanks to everyone over at Cova Software once again for the support. All right, time for the Blitz. Congratulations to the folks over at Civilized Worldwide, the publishing company behind the cannabis entertainment and news site Civilized, which pops up from time to time in our headlines, for their recently closed fundraising round of $5 million Canadian in a strategic partnership with the investment wing of Canopy Growth Corporation of Canada. Civilized will use the proceeds of the investment to build out their publishing reach and platform, as well as to produce live industry events. In a storyline that's been popping up lots in the last week or so, Maine lawmakers have finally sent a proposed bill to Governor Paul LePage's desk to sign that would set up a legal adult-use marijuana sales system, as mandated by Maine voters back in 2016. As I reported on yesterday, Governor LePage has said that he plans on vetoing the measure, which would go into law in 10 days if he were to change his mind and just not sign it. A LePage veto would send the adult-use sales bill back to the State House and Senate for an attempted vote on overriding. The margins as passed in the State House and Senate were by veto-proof margins, but just barely so, especially in the Senate. It's entirely possible that LePage will veto the bill, knowing of a few flipped votes to carry him through to victory. A storyline we'll obviously keep an eye on. With its second story today, New Cannabis Ventures has a new installation in the series it's been running, looking at legal marijuana business licensing in California. Even if you aren't involved in the California market, this is a good story to read and a good topic to have a handle on overall. There are more than 40 million people living in California, so what happens in their legal industry is usually notable, especially in the realm of licensing. Click over for all the details on this one, but one quick nugget of wisdom is that the growth in the number of licensed California cannabis cultivators is very strong indeed. The state of Massachusetts is making steady progress towards opening up their adult-use marijuana sales program by July, and yesterday announced the names of 20 companies that applied for an early shot at getting licensed to dispense adult-use cannabis. The Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission set up a system for allowing medical marijuana dispensary license holders to get an early spot in line for adult use licenses, in addition to a separate program geared towards expanding opportunities for folks from communities that have traditionally been the most negatively impacted by the harms of the government's war on marijuana. First 20 companies announced yesterday all have their medical licenses, but have been unable, for one reason or another, to yet open up a medical dispensary. The Cannabis Control Commission is meeting today in Boston, right around the time this show will be going up. Another good one to read in full if you're into the Massachusetts scene. The Colorado Department of Transportation has been conducting a study on the impacts of people driving under the influence of marijuana and just released some interesting findings that suggests that there are a lot of people out there driving right now, not too long after consuming cannabis. After polling more than 11,000 people, both consumers and non-consumers of cannabis, the CDOT says that 70% admit to driving high at least once in the last year, with 30% saying they do it every day. If those numbers were even half true, and if driving while high was as dangerous as most lawmakers say it is, we'd be seeing cannabis chaos and bloodshed all over the road. Instead, we don't. There's a lesson there. The Associated Press did the world of cannabis a good turn by writing a comprehensive piece about the history of how 420, and by extension April 20th, came to be associated with marijuana. As the story goes, a group of high school misfits that called themselves the Waldos started getting high at 4:20 p.m. back in 1971 in front of one particular statue on their school campus, and the number association just kind of stuck from there. If you don't know this story, you kind of need to. And click over, even if you do, to see a great photo of the 5 Waldos today, posing in front of the same statue they would gather under to get high all those years ago. And finally for today, the Cannabist is reporting on a very big number, $44 million. That's how much money the marijuana social network / dispensary listing site / news site / compliance regulator / concierge service / blockchain company MassRoots lost in 2017. $44 million lost, up from the previous year when the company lost an impressive $18 million. More than $22 million of the $44 million lost for 2017 by MassRoots came about in the form of stock options the company threw around to employees and for acquisitions. Somehow, the company is still in business, at least for now, with founding CEO Isaac Dietrich telling the Cannabist, quote, "I think this year we are poised to take advantage of the record growth we're seeing in California and Nevada. I think 5 years from now, MassRoots has the potential to be a leading technology company in a multi-billion-dollar industry," unquote. If you click over to read just one story today, this isn't a bad one, with lots of missed payments and filing deadlines by MassRoots to liven up your morning. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Kova, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.